Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking MotoGP with myself, the multi-branded Rob Portman in KTM and Ducati, and Donovan Free in what's it called?
Roses, Vent Brule.
Vent Brule, those very cool
They're
t-shirts.
Cool. This man is no longer a traitor. Last time he wore an Alex Marquez top, and he got chased through the square, people with pitchforks and torches, and he's learned his lesson. He's learned his lesson. Well done.
I must say, I was getting a little bit tired of cleaning dog poo in bags outside my front door, so that's why I've decided to wear this one. Now I'm wearing this in honor of the great and glorious Brad Binder, who we'll talk about just now. But the first big real talking point that came out this week, breaking news: Johan Zarco and KTM are going to be parting ways after only 1 year of their 2-year contract. We kind of called it.
Yeah, okay. But here's the thing: it turns out, and I'm not entirely sure how accurate this is, but people seem to think it's true. It turns out that Zarco's manager at the time went almost sort of behind Zarco's back in 2017, I think it was, and signed Zarco to KTM. And then, sort of Zarco was like, okay, so what offers do I have? No, KTM. Well, what else? No, KTM. Oh, is that all? Okay, KTM. Then afterwards, it turns out Repsol Honda approached him and a whole lot of other people, but he'd already signed for KTM. So, yeah, since then, that manager has been sacked, so understandably. But yeah, okay, here's my thing, right? Zarco has, he's quit with the team, so 2020 next year, he'll not be on a KTM. The problem is, where does he go? What does he do?
That is the big question mark.
So now he's had a crappy year this year on a KTM. He doesn't ride next year. What's he going to do the following year? Where's he going to go? What is he going to do?
There's a couple of talking points for KTM. Another big announcement they made was that they exiting the Moto2 and having branded Husqvarna bikes in Moto3. So they're going to have a little bit less involvement there to focus on their MotoGP bike. And that call kind of coincided with Zarco leaving. And I think it's a big decision because they do need to focus on their MotoGP project. Because this whole Zarco thing has not been a good exercise for them, because they took a top MotoGP rider from last year, put them on their bike, and it kind of just proved that their bike is nowhere near good enough. So trying to attract any other top rider is not going to happen.
There's also, there's a bit of an interesting theory, and I think this kind of goes with the whole steel trellis frame. Because now, KTM use steel trellis frames, everyone else is using
WP suspension.
Twin spar aluminium.
Yes.
Everyone else uses Öhlins, they're using WP. And what is kind of fascinating is you see, Siren and Zarco, they got off a silky smooth Yamaha onto this bike, they both sucked. Espargaro, he took a bit of time with the KTM, and Oliveira, they came across and sort of done okay. Now, Oliveira especially, he got off a KTM Moto2 bike. Again, steel trellis frame, WP suspension, got on the bike and wasn't so bad, which is sort of interesting. So now, is the KTM bad, or does it just take a certain sort of feel, a certain sort of rider?
I just look at the riding style, and it's very much like the Honda, and we're going to talk on that as well. You've got to really jam it into the corner, dig it into the tar, get it stopped, square it off and get out. So Paul Espargaro has adapted his style because he also came from Tech 3, but originally also battled on the KTM. But he's come out and said you have to ride it like Marquez. Jam it in the corner, get it out. Well, you can't do this, get it in the corner, let go of the brakes, let it flow through the corner. It just doesn't let you do that. It's a rigid, stiff motorbike.
This adds some, a lot of people are saying, all right, Brad Binder, what are you doing, you moron, look what it did to Zarco. But then again, Brad Binder's coming from a different perspective.
He's coming from wrestling KTM onto wrestling a KTM.
So he's getting on a bike that he kind of already knows, with people he knows, all that kind of thing, which I think he might do okay. I mean, if you get on a Yamaha and you do a Morbidelli and finish 10th, people are going to go, well, okay, not bad. If you finish 10th on the KTM, you are a hero. Austria will build a statue in your honor.
That's exactly what they'll do. But talking about Morbidelli, that was my next point. So we were saying, where's Zarco going to go? Franco Morbidelli is in one of the hottest seats, or on one of the hottest seats in MotoGP right now, and he's not doing anything with it.
No.
So, I mean, Quartararo being loved, he's doing a good job. So, out of all the riders that I could see, it's question mark potentially only that Morbidelli where Zarco could go, other than World Superbikes and Honda.
Here's the problem. Morbidelli's got his contract for next year already.
Yeah, we've just seen that contract mean nothing in MotoGP.
It means nothing, but I mean, a team can't go to a rider and say, right, you're sacked. You know what I mean? It doesn't really happen. From just off memory, I've seen it happen twice. One is now Zarco. Kel Crutchlow, when you went to Ducati, he spent 1 year with Ducati and just said, I can't do this. It's the only time I've ever seen this. I mean, other things like everyone said that Lorenzo was going to head across to take Jack Miller's place. That never happened. We kind of knew it wouldn't happen.
No.
I mean, Alberto Puig is a scary man, and he said that Lorenzo was going to do. Alberto Puig, okay, now he's the boss of the Repsol Honda team.
He's that miserable-looking man in the Repsol pits.
He looks like a villain in like an old Die Hard action movie. The really, kills them all. You should have a bigger scar and an eye patch. He's a scary man, and I don't think Lorenzo wanted to phone Puig and say, "Hey, listen, I want to move across to Ducati," because that would be too scary.
Well, look, there were a couple of other talking points in that whole saga. I still think it was a ploy by Ducati putting out those rumours to potentially just to get Jack Miller to hurry up and sign. But the other side of that is Jack Miller's agent is a certain Mr. Akiayo,
right?
Who is part of the Red Bull KTM team.
Yes.
So the rumours it's fact that came out is that once Jack Miller found this out, he had talks with Red Bull KTM, and I think this was already, they kind of knew Zarco was going to replace Zarco in the Red Bull factory team for next year. That hasn't transpired. He will be staying with Pramac Ducati, which I think is a good decision. So now the other turning point, other than where does Zarco go, which at the moment only looks like either Ducati World Superbike ride, because Bautista's leaving there, and that's going to Scott Redding.
I actually didn't think of that. Is it going to Scott Redding?
Well,
is it done?
Well, that is their plan B. It's not done.
Yeah.
That the rumours are that Bautista has told Ducati to get stuffed, and I'm going Honda World Superbike, which is going to be announced. That's definitely happening, I know. Plan B is then Scott Redding, but now that Zarco is available, could that be an option?
That's a very interesting thought. I didn't think of that. Okay, I'm going to say that, Ducati, use your brain, hire Zarco. Ducati, also, use your heart, hire Redding. Because that's going to be
funny. They don't need Davies either. I mean,
brilliant. Can Davies hire Zarco to get results, hire Redding just to be cool.
Just for brand awareness.
Just for fun. You're going to get a huge social media presence by him.
There we go. And then sign us as your PR agents for your World Superbike and your MotoGP team. Okay, so now the other question is, who does Red Bull KTM take next year on the MotoGP bike?
Okay, I read an interesting one. Straightforward, Bradley Smith.
Okay. He's been there, done it. Replacement ride, get him in there for a year until Oliveira is really up to scratch or Brad's up to scratch.
Oliveira's doing well. Brad, I'm sure, will do well. You've got Espargaro doing well. Do you need another top rider there, or do you need to risk saying, okay, let's haul up someone from Moto 2 and try and sort of stick him in there? No, get Bradley Smith. He rode the bike for 2 years. He's familiar with it. He's a reliable rider.
And just throw parts at it and develop it in race conditions.
He only occasionally takes out all his teammates.
when on an Aprilia.
Yeah, when on an Aprilia.
So that's a good option. Like I said, there's no better testing than race conditions. So sign Bradley Smith and say, listen, you're not going for a championship. Paul Espargaro is our number one rider. We need to develop this bike. And he also came from that Yamaha where it's a slightly silky smooth kind of style. So that could help. I agree with the fact that people say, put Oliveira or Brad on there. I don't think that would be kind to Tech 3 KTM, who they are supporting.
Yes and no, because, they already are signed to Tech 3. So it kind of says, well, Tech 3, we're stealing your rider. Good luck, find something.
Yeah.
No.
So that's Bradley Smith's a really good option. I couldn't think of anyone else because KTM would want someone with MotoGP experience on Michelin tyres and that. So footing the bill there is Bradley Smith.
Good man.
So let's wait and see that. But Zarco and KTM definitely over, and that we're gonna have to watch out in the news to see where he goes.
Just out of interest, I think we've kind of got a theme for this show. I'm gonna show you what's written here.
And he wrote it.
He wrote it's WTF. We're not gonna pull that out in full because YouTube get cross with us. But it's just WTF. And this is a show of WTF. Let's just go straight into the elephant in the room. WTF Dovi. WTF Dovi, you know him. He's sitting in the pits, he's smiling, and he's cautious, and he'll ride the bike to a certain limit and no further. And if he can win, if he can make an overtaking, he'll do it. If not, he sits back and Mr. Reliable. What was he doing? What the hell happened?
I loved it because in the previous episode I said, guys, you've got to duff up Marquez. Yes. You've got to do a Marquez on Marquez. Yes. And he did it on lap 1. Marquez shoved him on the inside at the start and I thought, oh, here we go. Dovi's already bullied. Next turn, Dovi fought straight back.
Do you know what I think happened? Dovi watched that. Dovi watched our podcast, and now because of that, he won.
We've made him a race winner.
There we go. It was us. We're going to take you the full credit for
that.
that.
But again, it's not rocket science. Marquez does not like being bullied, and no one ever does it.
Yeah.
I mean, but look, to be fair, going into that last corner, as soon as Marquez went into the 2 last right-handers, I was like, oh, it's over. When Dovi went, me and my brother jumped off that car. I threw my poor little boy, Trey. I chucked him over the couch. He went flying. The dogs we kicked the dog somehow and everything, but we just didn't. I don't think the world expected it.
I was sitting in Ridgeway Race Bar, and I thought Dovi's last chance is you come out of those two left-handers, bit of a right king, a straight, and then into the last two right-handers.
Yes.
I thought Dovi's last chance was to slipstream down there, that first of those last two. And he got to that one and he stayed there, and I thought, oh, here we go.
Yeah, same
old Dovi, he's going to settle for second. What the hell? And the other funny thing is with the camera angle, they sort of kept one camera angle. So you could see Dovi kind of doing something, but you couldn't actually see what. And next thing, he goes into the corner ahead of Marquez. And I kid you not, this entire place, there was probably 100 people there went, it was like, no, I mean, it went from like, okay, he didn't go into that second last corner, he didn't go on the inside, so everyone was like, oh, okay, so anyway, should we have another under?
To next minute, it was literally
the
like that.
Ever.
It was fantastic, and the way he did it, I've watched it slow-mo over and over. He came out, you see him actually get a big black darkie from the back tyre as he lines it up, but he just keeps it railed and he shoves it on the inside, takes Marquez's brake lever guard out and wins the... I mean, Marquez came across the line shaking his head.
There was that shot of him, there was shots of Marquez, there was an onboard shot where Dovi came up the inside, he tried to accelerate, the bike got a bit out of shape, and that was sort of it. And you see him kind of going...
Damn it. I've just been Marquez.
He's just been Marquez. I mean, Marquez has failed to do that twice. And Dovi got Mr. Meek and Mild Dovi did it to him. It was amazing. The next one we got here is WTF Mark. Now, here's the thing. Throughout practice, Marquez was 0.3, 0.4 second of a lap faster than anybody consistently.
Yeah.
Even in qualifying, we saw that. I mean, it was 0.4, and this is on a very short lap. I mean, the track is only 1.2, 1 minute 23 seconds. So it's a short lap.
Yeah.
So I mean, on somewhere like Bruno, I mean, that's more like half a second, 0.6.
Yeah, it's a long.
He was
a
long
gap.
way ahead, and yet suddenly the race starts and Dovi's there. I mean, there was a time Dovi was leading, then Marquez overtook him, and we all went, "Oh well, here we go." Yeah. Anyway, that's it. The race is, and the whole race was just full of. Anyway, any minute now the race is over, and it just sort of never happened. But what happened to that 0.3, 0.4 of advantage?
Well, I read a press release from Alberto Puig where he came out defending Marquez and crying.
The diehard villain,
Bruce Willis time 5, And he said Mark was 0.3, 0.4 faster. And then when the track, remember it rained that morning, and it kind of washed away all the grip, and Marquez went with a medium tyre where Dovi went with a soft. And I think that could have played a role. Look, the Ducati has always been able to work on a soft tyre. We saw it last year with Lorenzo there. He was able to make it work. But they are now saying, it was because the track was washed of all the grip, and Marquez had to go on a medium and he made an error. So that is where he lost his time. But I still think Dovi just upped his pace and upped his aggression and upped his performance.
During the briefings, like after every single day of practice, there's a briefing. And the journalist said that Dovi always had this sort of quiet, confident look about him. At no stage, I mean, he was... Wherever he finished that, and Marquez was so far ahead, he would sit there and go, everything's fine. Yeah,
so he just knew.
It's fine. He was just very, very confident right up to it. And this is something I always notice. I look at practice, and you've got the practice champions, which are Vinales and Quartararo, that are always fast in practice. But when it comes to the race, you've got people like Rins and Rossi, who are usually somewhere, sometimes even out of the top 10, suddenly come through. And I'd say I'm going to put Dovi in that category. Because Marquez is very good at going out and setting a hell of a fast lap in practice. But then you look at the fastest lap in the race, it's normally a second, sometimes a second and a half lap slower. So what's the point of going out there and doing these hauling laps? Whereas go out on a new set of tyres, full fuel tank, and go and actually set race pace. I think maybe that's what Dovi was doing.
And look, filtering down to Moto2, that's what makes Brad such a good test rider and racer, is that he does that. He doesn't worry about that fast lap time outright. But just looking at it there, it was, if we could see that Dovi week in, week out, if that Dovi comes in week in, week out, I said on the last show that Dovi and Ducati will never win a championship. If that Dovi and Ducati come out...
Yeah, where was he 4 months ago?
And you could literally see that move under his helmet going, well, this is the only racetrack that Marquez hasn't won at. I'm not letting this guy beat me like Iannone did a couple of years ago. Kind of put a cake in my face. I'm not going to let Marquez do this. Shoved it on the inside. I love the fact that he took his brake lever guard with him just as like a little souvenir. And then what was even funnier is a couple of years ago when Marquez did that move, Dovi squared it up. Dovi still looked back at him and like shook his head like, how dare you try and pass in the final turn? It's such a stupid idea. You're risking our lives. And Dovi then goes and does and pulls it off.
Pulls it off. He did Dovi, Marquez.
Bellissima.
WTF Yamaha.
Oh, okay. Hang on. The
Back.
most inconsistent motorcycle in the world. So it goes to the fastest track on the calendar where there's nothing but straights, has no horsepower, has no top speed, should not finish anywhere near the top 5, and finishes 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah.
Because of its handling and braking
Yeah,
capabilities.
But I mean, those
So
are.
what the hell?
I mean, they're not M1s; they're R1s. I mean, you saw when Quartararo was out front there.
Dovi and Marquez passed him.
You know, it was like, I don't know, it was on a 600 or something. They passed him like it was nothing. Quartararo on the brakes in a turn 3 on the inside of Marquez. That was just amazing. It was amazing. And, you know, they got to the straight and Marquez says, well done.
Cheers.
Bye. That was it.
But this is what confuses me now. So the Yamaha are complaining that we don't have any acceleration out the turns, whatever. That bike, under braking stability, looked phenomenal in the hands of Quartararo, Vinales, and Rossi. And then also coming out of the turns, that thing was driving.
It was very good.
That was its really good strong points. The only weakness was the horsepower down the straights.
Yeah. So okay, this is what they need to figure out for next year is to keep all of that, keep that sweet handling, stability on the brakes, drive out of corners, and then more top speed. The problem with that is that as soon as you add a whole lot of top speed, it kind of changes everything. I mean, you've got to try and make the bike more stable. It tends to makes the bike more aggressive. So it is very, very difficult. The others are pulling it off, but let's see. Incidentally, the two slowest bikes on the track are the Yamaha and the Suzuki.
Yeah, the Suzuki didn't look very out of sorts with Rins on this race.
So these are the two slowest bikes on the track, and they're all inline fours. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, we've said it a couple of times that kind of seems to be not the way to go compared to the Hondas and the Ducatis. But again, the 3 slowest bikes on the day, or the 4 slowest bikes, finished 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th on the fastest track.
I will say, lap 1. KTM's Paul Espargaro's KTM came over. I don't know, maybe they let an Italian work on it or something, but it just stopped dead, and Crutchlow crashed into the back of him.
So he was going to be a contender.
Yeah,
both of them.
I do kind of wonder what happened to both of them. I mean, where would they have been? I mean, it would have been fun to have seen Paul Espargaro. I think he could have at least mixed it with those Yamahas. And also think Crutchlow would have been in for a podium.
Definitely. I had him down quite high up as well, yeah.
And also, same time, Miller, all right, he was under a lot of pressure. I kind of noticed during the practices, he looked out of sorts.
He looked stressed by the whole thing, yeah.
I mean, this whole kind of contract thing. I mean, I was noticing him going into corners, he was missing apexes, he was all of that. So you just kind of see he was
but could you blame him? He just came off a podium in Brno, and now all of a sudden I might not have a ride.
So the Yamaha's 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but I mean, there were some rides missing, so fair enough. And they're 6 seconds behind the leader. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, they've got 2.6 seconds covered the 3 of them. So
just shows you how close that bike is, and it's not just a rider getting away with it.
I'm going to give you another WTF, Bagnaia. Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah,
he finished in 7th place. Now, last time we said he was having big problems. He was slower, I mean, through many of the races this year, he was slower compared to the leaders than the first day he got on a MotoGP bike, which is at Valencia last year. He was slower than then, and he kept crashing. And he said the thing is, he was trying to kind of relax, just be relaxed. And the more he relaxed, the more he crashed. And he said he couldn't understand this. He'd be all relaxed, be all smooth, crash. So they had the test after Brno.
Yes.
I suspect they found something because he was fast again. And here again, okay, it is a Ducati track, but Bagnaia finished 7th, Danilo Petrucci 9th.
And, things have just gone downhill. Since Petrucci has signed again for next year, he has just looked out of sorts. It was almost like a carrot dangling, and the pressure of Miller potentially taking his ride motivated him. And now he's just fallen off the bus. I mean, that's another outside the top 5 after Brno. And 17.3 seconds off your teammate who won.
Off his teammate. Now, here's the thing. I mean, my mate of mine, old Sean Ray, pointed this out. He said he was always kind of... He said everyone likes Petrucci. I mean, he's a little chipmunk. He's lovely. But he's the sort of guy when everything is running well, he's good. As soon as things go slightly awry, he's nowhere. And I mean, we just saw it now. This is a Ducati track.
And this is a Ducati track,
yeah. So
that wasn't a very good performance by Petrucci. He's got to watch out. And behind him, Morbidelli in 10th, another rider. Those are two very hot seats in MotoGP. And come 2021, with the likes of Quartararo, Alex Rins, those riders, they'll be climbing in those bikes. But just ahead of him, another WTF.
Hero of the day, and it gives us hope for next year for Brad Binder. 8th place, Miguel Oliveira on the satellite KTM.
Impressive, eh?
He is in 8th place. He's 16.2 seconds behind the leaders. I mean, that is good. I mean, behind him, you've got Petrucci, Morbidelli, Nakagami,
yeah.
his teamate, Bradle
Bradle
on
on
a
a
works factory Honda, the factory Aprilias, all of that. It's just, that's a remarkable ride. I mean, this is a feel-good thing, because this is sort of this is Christmas future for Brad Binder. And it is nice, because we always saw Paul Espargaro was doing well on the KTM, and it's kind of a bit disheartening when you see only Paul
Everyone
Espargaro.
else not here.
If we can see Paul and Oliveira, that just shows that the KTM is capable. KTM is capable with a certain riding style, and we know Binder has that riding style.
And Oliveira was impressive the whole weekend from free practice 1, so it wasn't a case of he built into it.
Yeah.
But it also highlights that KTM's like tracks with less corners.
Yeah, they don't like corners.
Because I was so impressed with Oliveira. To finish 0.2 behind Bagnaia, and only, 8 seconds behind Rins for a top 6, that, like you said, that's a really positive for the team and everyone involved.
Going back to Bagnaia, Ducati announced next year they'll have 4 factory bikes. Now,
It's
this is
a
how
big
it works.
statement, eh?
Yeah, you've got the 2 works bike, the 2 factory machines, which is Dovizioso and Petrucci. Then you've got the Pramac team, which fields old Miller on a factory current bike. He's used as sort of a test bed, They try new stuff with him before taking to the works team. Whereas Bagnaia, also on the Pramac, uses a second-hand bike from last year.
Yeah.
Next year, Bagnaia will also be on a full works bike. That's going to be fun.
I think that's a big reason why Miller was stalling signing his contract. I think it's a kind of a case of Nakagami and Crutchlow, where he's saying, well, no, I need to be the number 1 rider in the team. Now it's a case of guys, go slug it out.
It started off with Miller saying, no, we were fighting over pennies. Now it turns out that it was Ducati that was stalling somewhat, because they were also trying to find the funds to field 4 factory bikes. They were trying to do the same thing at Honda, old LCR. Cal Crutchlow is also on a factory bike, the 3rd factory bike. His teammate Nakagama was not. Nakagami. Yeah. Nakagama. Anyway, sounds like a type of butter. Okay, so Nakagami was not on a factory bike. He wanted to be one. He's the only person that is not signed for next year, and it doesn't look promising. Crutchlow, in his usual diplomatic, kind
British
way, just flat out said Nakagami doesn't deserve a factory bike. He hasn't earned it.
So hasn't he signed yet?
No, he hasn't signed yet. But it doesn't look like he's saying he wants a factory bike. It doesn't look like Honda are going to give him one. So
big question marks. And that, on the staying with Honda, the other side is that Lorenzo is definitely staying for 2020, which I think is a good idea, because he hasn't really had a chance on that bike. The chances that he has had, he's had one or 2 bad performances. But let's not forget, before he took everyone out in Catalonia, he was up there.
Well, okay. Interestingly, the pre-press conference before the race, they asked Rossi. They said, Lorenzo well. What do you think? He says, I'm going to paraphrase here. He said, it's not really fair, because Lorenzo's been injured a lot, and most importantly, he injured himself beginning of the season, and he missed all the tests. He said the tests are important, because that is where you get to ride with no kind of
stress racing,
or anything. He says on a race day it's difficult, because you have to be fast, and it's difficult to try stuff and work on stuff and be relaxed about it. On a race weekend you can't. So he missed that. It was very important, which is, I'll be honest, I didn't really think of that. When you're going out there on a test day, you've got 3 days on the track, just open, go and ride, and you spend 3 days. No one's really looking at you. There's no cameras. There's no anything. Yeah, everyone will see the final kind of times
but it doesn't matter. Yeah. I would love to do a laps. Let's say Marquez has spent 250 laps on the bike this year, racing, testing, everything. I would love to do the comparison. Lorenzo, couldn't have spent more than 50 laps on that bike.
Yeah, like 15.
So I think Lorenzo needs to be given a good chance. He needs to come back. He's coming back at Silverstone now.
Yeah.
This next weekend. So as this comes out.
What I think, from Lorenzo. Okay, if I were Lorenzo, I know. Okay, races are different. They're kind of a bit hard-headed. I would say, okay, my name is Lorenzo. I've got the rest of this year and next year. So right now, I'm just going to focus on next year. So for the rest of this year, I don't care.
Spend the races testing.
The contract's signed, so it doesn't matter where I finish. I'm going to spend the whole of this year just figuring it out, getting stronger, getting confident, doing what I have to, and don't give a stuff about lap times. Don't give a stuff about where I finish. And if you do well in a race, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. Figure it out for next year.
Because not much is going to change on the Honda for next year. So it's not like he's going to get a whole new bike to try and learn next year.
Yeah.
Marquez has just come out and he raced with that carbon fiber rear swing arm or subframe or something.
The carbon fiber braced frame.
Braced frame. And he
Why
says
such
that'll...
complicated stuff? Why can't we just call it Joe?
Just call it frame.
Yeah.
But Marquez says that he thinks Lorenzo's going to love that. So, look, Marquez has been talking up Lorenzo because I think he just loves having him as a teammate because it's just making him shine even brighter.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want someone fast. And if they put Lorenzo back in a Ducati, he might start winning again.
Well, look, that's another reason why I think Puig also went, no. We like having you in our team because you're not a threat.
It's the diehard villain.
The diehard
villain. You really
villain.
should start wearing an eye patch. Come on.
But I do think they kind of blocked that move as well because they were like, well, as long as you're with Honda, you're kind of not a threat. But if you go back to Ducati, you're a threat. So we don't want you there. But let's move on to the biggest.
The hero.
It's not even a WTF.
Hero.
It's just Binder.
Binder is no longer a hero. He's now a legend. He's myth. He's like Hercules.
But let me tell you.
He's a myth.
Let me tell you. I watched that race and after about 5 laps, I was watching and I was sitting there watching like this. I could feel the chatter from that motorbike come through my entire body and how he held onto that bike. There was close-ups going into the left-handers where you would go in, you could see him kind of, and I've never seen a bike chatter so much in my life.
Okay, yeah, a bit of background. So Bruno, they brought out a brand new chassis. We interviewed Binder. He was very excited about it.
We all were.
Yeah, everyone. I mean, apparently the chassis, all on paper, it was going to solve all their problems. The only downside is no one was going to be able to test it until Bruno. So literally, Bruno, they're putting it on the bike and they're going to ride it for the first time. But on paper, it was going to solve all their problems. Anyway, they threw the paper away, got on the bike, and it was rubbish.
Epic fail.
Yeah, epic fail. I mean, Binder absolutely struggled.
And it's a pity because
he crashed.
If you look back now, if he had ridden the old bike, he could have actually performed it.
Could have actually done. So what it looks like, and I mean, I'm not sure of the exact details, but it looked like they went back to the old chassis.
But with the new airbox or air intake or something.
Yeah, the new air intake, but the old frame.
Yes.
Yeah, so they got the chatter back, but I don't actually know. I mean, did you speak to Binder? What was wrong with that Bruno frame?
I haven't spoken to him since before when. And how cool was that? We sat in a Moto2 race winner's house on his old furniture. But how cool was that? Like 3 weeks ago, we were sitting with Brad, and he has this cool guy, and he goes out and wins a Moto2 race in front of the home fan.
He was wearing slippers. That was brilliant.
That's how casual he was. But what a place to go. And he's the first KTM rider and probably the only one in a long time because they're out of Moto2 now.
Yes.
Don't have a presence in Moto3. So the next time anyone wins at Spielberg on a KTM has to be in MotoGP. And let's hope it's Binder next year on a Tech 3 KTM.
Yeah, but so interesting. Now, okay, they had a test on Monday. I didn't see any. They
After
didn't really
the Spielberg, no
they
times.
didn't really. There were no times. There were no nothing. So we don't know what happened there. I believe they were going to go back to that new chassis and try it again. And I really hope they found something good. The problem now is for the rest of the year with KTM pulling out of Moto2. I can't see any updates coming.
I can't. Yeah, they're definitely not going to throw money at it. All their resources are going to go into MotoGP now, and I kind of think they're going to use what they have and try and make it work, but it just shows that there is something there. Look, okay, Brad rode around the problems, but even Martin had a better ride. He was up in 7th, and
Brad
Lecuona was in 8th.
The problems, and the other riders rode into each other. That kind of helped also.
Look, that was the most action-packed Moto2 race ever. Again, my poor little lighty went flying every time a Moto2 bike got taken out, but that move from Marini on Bastianini was a little bit... Because Bastianini, to me, was going to be the biggest threat for Brad. Because he got a good start, and he was up there from the beginning, and I thought, oh, geez... I know Brad can make a KTM very, very wide, but I don't know for how long. I mean, how was it watching Brad sideways into those turns? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Do you know he kind of reminds me of, and some people are going to have to forgive me for this, Stoner.
Yeah.
Do you remember Stoner 2007 on a Ducati? He had the Valentino Rossi behind him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Behind him was Valentino. This is not now. This is 2007.
No way.
He had Valentino Rossi on his pit board saying +0. And you know what? He didn't even glimpse. He didn't. He kept his line. He kept to it. And you know, I'm sure Brad sort of every now and again had a look behind him and just saw a train of motorcycles and his pit board saying WTF. You know, the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he didn't flinch. He didn't swayed nothing. He just kept at it, and I think that is kind of that kind of endearing quality of him. That is really what's going to sort of make him thrive.
And you could see that whole KTM pit, I mean, including the big boss of KTM, going and saying, "Wow, geez, we have got a man on our hands here. Thank goodness we've got this guy because he has brought some hope to the KTM brand." But well done, Brad. It was absolutely epic. That Moto2 race was brilliant. Heading into Silverstone, I think it's going to be a really good race meeting. I think the likes of the Yamahas in MotoGP and Rins are going to be up there, but I still think it's now a proper shootout between Dovi and Marquez.
What, for Silverstone? How much is it going to rain, I wonder?
Lots.
It's always kind of, mixes things
up. Yeah, that's a big question mark with Silverstone. It's England, so it always rains.
Okay, last time they had rain there and they sort of couldn't, all the bikes started floating, so they sort of couldn't race.
They didn't race there last year.
They didn't race there,
so we don't even know.
Started floating. So now they've gone on completely retarded.
I know with the British Superbikes, the track was tearing up quite a bit. They had to fix it in places, but they did race, and the riders did say the new surface is better.
And I believe they have raced cars there in the pouring rain, and everything was perfect. So I believe it's okay now. Silverstone's an interesting one. I mean, we saw it's sort of weird because it kicks up weird results. We saw Rossi suck at Silverstone always and then win in the rain. We saw Viñales on a Suzuki win there. We've seen Dovizioso. I think Dovizioso's won there.
Yeah, he's won on the Ducati.
He's won on the Ducati. So it is one of these where
Crutchlow, local rider.
Yeah, so it's one of these where you never quite know what is going to happen. So go on, who's your winner?
No, I'm not going to do it. Look, I'm on the Super Brew thing, and it's called Super Brew, and we got a girl leading our championship. So I don't know how that works. Girls shouldn't be allowed to enter. Okay, but let me go with my top three.
Go on.
Rain, dry, anything. I'm going to go Dovi, Marquez, Rossi. No, Rins.
Right. Okay, right.
Well,
right,
whatever.
so this is what's going to happen. It's going to happen like this. It is going to happen this way. Crutchlow's going to win.
Yeah.
He's going to go in the interview and tell everyone they're a bunch of wankers. That is definitely going to happen. Miller's going to be second. He's going to tell Crutchlow he's a wanker. And he's going to tell Ducati that they're wankers. And he's going to drink champagne out of his
And third is going to be Zarco on his KTM that he's leaving.
Third is going to be Zarco on the KTM. And he's going to, Simon Craven's going to go, Jean, you must be very happy about the race. And he's going to be very French and just go, yeah.
I'm going to World Superbikes now. But anyway, there you have it.
That's my prediction.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch up with you after the Silverstone race.